Hello, and welcome to a reputable episode of the Drywall Podcast. I am your host, once again, Nick Harmon. With us today, Jammie, Burke. That's Jammie with two M's, out of Ottawa, Canada. Graces us with his presence. Jammie runs a little company called Jammie Painting and Drywall and has been around the drywall industry for over 20 years. We hit it off right away and dive into the topic of social media because he's only been on social media for a mere 10 months, but he's quickly making a name for himself. And of course, we step back into the history of Jammie Burke and hear the tales of his wobbly first days as a lowly painter.
Sitting at a table, this is where the painting comes in. Sitting at my table one night, having a couple beers with some buddies. And my one buddy's like, "But man, I need a job, man." You know, like these guys are like, we're all young, right? And I said, "Well, what the fuck do you know what to do?" And he goes, "Well, I used to paint with my uncle." I says, "Let's start a fucking painting company." And we looked at each other, we're drunk, high five. We're starting this painting company. And I'm done. I'm a type of guy. If I have a thought in my head, we're executing it. If it's rare that I'm not executing the thought. So
well, but like, were you really thinking, because you're giving up a $90K, that's a lot of money in the 90s job to go fucking start a painting company?
Okay, here's the kicker. So we start. I said, well, I can get deals with Leader Post because I work at the paper and they give me free classified ads, right? So this is how I'm thinking. So I was the seller, and like, I know nothing about painting, right? I'm like,
love this conversation with Jammie. We discuss his beginnings in drywall, also running the Super Taper, otherwise known as the Shitbox, and also a little bit about hand finishing. Jammie has run large crews and he's also worked by himself. We talk about that and why he works alone and is now focused on popcorn removal. We also talk about some mental health stuff and family and much, much more. This episode of the Drywall Podcast is brought to you by Fresco Harmony, making walls better since 2004. You can find Fresco Harmony online at csrbuilding.com. If you are in Canada, or if you're in the United States, you can find us at www.frescoharmony.com. Lots of information there, lots of videos on YouTube, all kinds of content on Instagram, Facebook, and also TikTok. Have a hankering to tell your story on the Drywall Podcast, or if you have questions for me, you can reach out to me directly at info@frescoharmony.com. I would love to hear from you. But for now, we got Jammie with two M's of Call Jammie Painting and Drywall out of Ottawa, Canada, on the 101st episode of the Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it.
what's happening, man?
Gravy train.
Making it happen.
Or the Jammie train, I should say.
Call Jammie, that's her, man. Where is it? Oh, wait.
And can we give a shout out to the lovely person that helped you out there?
Yes, come here. This is my partner in crime and with the business. Yep. Pam does all the quotes. She does. That's Nick.
Hello.
How's it going, Pam?
Pretty good.
Good. Are you excited to listen to this? Are you going to listen to the episode on the side, or do you want to wait and let it be a surprise?
On the side.
She's my backup.
And then you'll get to hear all the fun things I edited out.
Yes.
all the cuss words.
Yeah,
cool.
All right. Enjoy.
Cool. I've been watching some of your stuff. You like the little bobblehead in the lower corner. And what I was going to say is you have Jammie Burke Painting and Drywall.
Call Jammie Painting and Drywall.
Call Jammie. Shouldn't it be shouldn't it be drywall and painting?
It should be, but I started as a painter first. That's the
I
thing. I
can't
morphed into drywall after painting.
I can't even believe you're on the podcast right now.
Why? Are you
We
starstruck?
we don't allow painters on here.
Hey man, that's yeah, but my heart's in the drywall industry, man. That's for sure.
Okay, all
That's
right,
that's
all
my
right.
first love. I turned down more painting jobs than anything.
Crazy. Well, and actually it is cool because we don't get a lot of painters on here. Mostly drywall. We have had a few that do drywall and painting. So we could get into some of the aspects of painting. Jamie, you've maybe messaged me a couple of times that you were very two questions. How did you find out about the podcast? And then I guess maybe what's your favorite episode? If you've listened to a couple that you could give maybe some tips. Somebody's listening that hasn't heard some of the episodes. I'm always curious about, which episodes you liked.
Oh man, I think I first seen you come across on Instagram, actually, somebody promoting one of the episodes, and I recognize a few guys on there, some of the Canada guys like Dusty and
Yeah.
Nathan's Drywall, Sean Rams, and those beauties. And I was interested right away, man. Started listening. I just had so much similarities to so many of these guys talking about their journeys through
Yeah.
roles and through different stuff, and it was really relatable, man. Like it's not like
Yeah.
I'm a big Dr. Laura fan. Like, I listen to a lot of that kind of stuff too on the side, but this is just
Uh,
like
what's her last name?
Schlesinger. She's on Sirius, like she's like a marital and all that kind of stuff. She's
Okay.
but no, man, I just found yours, and some days I'll listen to like 4 or 5 podcasts straight. I always have something in the ear just to kind of keep me focused on what I'm doing. And yeah, some of my
Yeah.
favorite episodes. I mean, I love Dusty's.
Yeah,
Dusty,
that was a good one.
he did good. Like I said, share a lot of similarities with him. You can hear his passion in that too. It really reminds me. He's a
Mhm.
little bit younger than me. But I share a lot of similarities with him. Nathan's Drywall, because the guy's like salt of the earth, just a
Yeah.
beauty, just a total talk with him online and stuff. It's like really looking forward to meeting him someday. Love
Yeah.
that one. Just down to earth, honest guy. Sean Ramsden, that was
Yeah.
a great one. And then Bernie St. James, that was like just the guy's like just so humble and just so
Yeah.
like, just like easygoing, like just a beauty of a guy too. Sounds like a real nice fella. I love just so many, man. Like the list is some of the American,
Yeah.
like Colin Sellinger.
Colin,
Uh,
I'm glad you're throwing in a couple of Americans. We have a hard time beating the Canadians in the niceness category.
okay.
But that's okay, you know.
Yeah, man. But Colin's great. Gives him and I give each other a lot of support online. There's a whole bunch, geez, and some I've listened to like multiple times. Like I know it sounds weird, but just ones that just they inspire me. If I'm having kind of a shitty day and I'm just like I'm gonna throw
Totally.
on, yeah, like it's really nice to you and Brawley's dad. Like
Yeah.
those are the two ones I love the most. And
Yeah.
yeah, man. But keep up the great work. Like I said, I know obviously you're promoting your fresco, which is amazing too. But just the time that you put into it, man, it's like props. And I know it'd be
Yeah.
a lot of pissing around to do what you're doing. I really thank you for doing this for all us guys.
I enjoy it. What you're talking about too is that like sort of connective quality to it, where it's bringing sort of the people together. So cool. I just worked with Chris Bush. So Chris
Yes.
Bush was on the podcast, younger, drywaller in the trade, cool kid. He wanted to come down work with Fresco. We just did a popcorn cover. I noticed that you were doing popcorn cover, so we'll talk a little bit about that. I did it a little bit different. We went into some troubles. It was a hard project,
Yes.
fantastic project for him to come down and work on. And he mentioned during his time working with me, he's like, I wouldn't have been here if it wasn't for social media. I wouldn't,
Yeah.
so crazy that, for all of the flack that social media gets in today, that there are aspects of it like this and bringing the drywall trade together that are super cool, really cool. Like there's some cool stuff happening.
Yeah,
Um,
it's been great. Like I said, I'm new to it too. Like I'm on my 10th month of being on social media. Like I've never been a social media
Oh,
guy. So
okay.
I'm like brand new, kind of I'm the type of guy that likes to kind of do things kind of my way, and just kind of people don't like it. It's like, whatever. But I'm new, just kind of learning it all. But it's been amazing. I wish I would have done this earlier. I know a lot of guys say that the internet was a little more toxic back in the day with the drywall forums. I was never part of that, but
Yeah.
a lot of guys I work with would talk about, oh man, you should see the shit that goes
Mean.
down on those. I'm like, oh, I'm
Mean.
not interested.
Yeah, I've been on the social media, drywall groups since their inception. And yeah, really rowdy. I mean, I never got my panties in a bunch too much about, somebody talking shit from like Nebraska. I don't care. That's interesting to me that you've only started doing social media 10 months ago.
Yes.
And are you predominantly Instagram?
Yeah, it's just Instagram. It's through my wife's Facebook. So it just
Okay.
we hooked it up. A lot of people would say like, "Oh, Jamie, you got to get on Instagram and put your work on." And I'm a bigger fella. Like I'm 46 years old, but I'm about 6'2" and a half and
Okay.
290. Like I'm a big man. Like I'm
Yeah.
a I'm an ox, right?
A lot of
So
drywallers are, oddly enough. Met a lot
yeah,
of big drywallers.
big boys, right? So with me, I was really nervous to show my face, right? Because I'm the type of guy, I'm walking by a mirror, it's like, hell
Yeah.
no, I ain't looking in that mirror. There's no damn way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it took a lot of courage, man, and a lot of
Yes.
just it's like I've never skydived, but it's like just kind of putting your foot at the edge of that plane and being like,
Yeah.
holy fuck, man, I'm doing it, and then you just do it, and then it's just like, and then people like support you and give you nice feedback. I haven't had really any arseholes or nothing like that, right? It's been a lot.
Yeah, they're not being dicks as much anymore. Why? Why did you feel the need to go do
Go
social
on.
media? Was it specifically because you were promoting your business?
But specifically for promotion, we run a real good business. Get a lot of I have a really good reputation in the area.
Okay.
Lots of really good reviews and that. And we're looking for a way to show people our work, because what I've created on there with Instagram is basically like a encyclopedia of what you can expect if Jammie comes to your house to do work. So if you got to go
Yeah.
through my stuff, you can kind of literally, you can see how I prepare the house. You can see what I'm doing. You can see how my tools are kind of organized. You can see, so when you go to hire me, like when I show up to these people's houses, and a lot of people will hire me from Instagram, and when I show up, people are like not starstruck, but they're so happy to see me because they've seen me like online, and they're like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, I love what you're doing." And I've never had
Yeah.
that before, because normally you show up and people are, their ass cheeks are puckered, and they're like, "This guy's big. Is he gonna hurt me?" Like that type of
Yeah.
stuff, right? But I always tell my wife, there's 10 different types of customers, and I was raised by a mother who was like could have worked for the CIA, like just would analyze, the way you looked and what you're thinking. And so I've done that to customers, and I've kind of put them in like 10 different groups, not in a bad way, but when I do a job and I talk to the people for about an hour in the job, I know how to deal with those folks. I know how to deal with these folks, because I've been through it all. So it's really, and once you kind of get that sorted out, it makes it a lot
Yeah.
easier to get through those jobs.
Damage control, I call it.
That's it, man.
The
That's it.
client's damage control. Well, you're a very attractive person. I'm glad you
Thank
decided to
you.
come on social
Thank you.
media and the Drywall podcast, which I would probably venture to say it took a little bit of courage too.
Oh,
I was reading to my girlfriend our back and forth where and she thought it was pretty adorable, and she listens to a lot of podcasts, and it's very it's commendable when people do come on. I forget because we've done over 100 podcasts now. I
yes.
forget. I've been doing it for 2 years. I was very nervous the first few that I did, obviously, much like jumping out of an airplane. It's very scary, and I'm gonna look stupid. I'm gonna say stupid things, and people aren't, mostly it's judgment from others that we're so fearful of. And so kudos to you for that, for
Thank you, buddy.
for doing that. It's interesting to me that it took you so long to jump on social media. Now, you said you're on your wife's account for Facebook. Are you going to venture into other social media platforms?
I don't think so. You know what? With Instagram too, like it's increased our business by 30-40%. I do a few
That's
ads on
crazy.
there. And
Yeah,
like people, like just as we're speaking here, I had somebody just reach out, want more info. Like some of our kids have worked through the business and that too. But right now we have two smaller ones. So when she goes to quotes in the summer, they're right behind her, man. She's in measuring. The kids are with her.
how small?
Yeah. How
How
small are the
small?
kids? The Ronnie's 9 and Piper's 8. And that's the two
Nice.
smallest. And my oldest is 20, going to be 26 here right away. So it
Okay.
goes,
Mine's 8.
oh, yeah, it's a great age, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great. I took him to the he goes to summer camp,
That's
during the
awesome.
summer. But
I love that picture of you guys, man. I was seeing that on your page here. You and him with you got
the
the
fourth
blonde. Yeah, the fourth one with the blonde hair. You're
oh
sitting
yeah, yeah, he's a big soccer player.
like daddy.
Um
Gonna be a
good
pro,
yeah,
semi-pro
yeah.
like dad.
Yeah, I played last night. I hurt my foot pretty good. I'm getting old, at 48, I just count my blessings that I could still get out there. But yeah, this guy was jacking me, and I got into it with this dude, like got a yellow card. I had to send us both off. It was
Oh,
gets like that sometimes.
hey, it's a
As
passion,
a
man. It's your passion. You got it in the podcast. You got it on the
Yeah,
field. It's not leaving
yeah,
you.
yeah. Ahmed and I talk a little bit about soccer. Did you catch that?
Yeah,
You
he's good too, man. Yeah,
great,
yeah,
great.
he does really nice work, really nice,
Oh yeah,
really, really good
yeah.
taper. And
One of those guys that are like so good on social media. It's just like, how do
oh,
you
I can't.
do it? It's so
Oh,
cool.
that's another thing, man. Like those, like him and like Teak, even Sean, like the way that these guys are like getting people to. I try the hashtag. I'm still like such a rookie, so I'm getting like
Yeah,
I think Instagram will let me get up to like 1,500 people watching a video, and then they just stop me. Like it's like nobody. I don't know if they stop me or what, but it gets discouraging a bit because you're trying to get your content out. Then you're thinking, oh, my shit's not good enough. You think of that a bit, then for a bit I won't do hashtags, but I'm literally just trying to learn it just from
yeah,
the seat of my pants, kind of going with that. But it's a lot of fun, man. That's for
yeah.
sure.
You're developing your own style, which is cool. Let's dig in a little bit. You said you were a painter before you were a drywall. How old were you when you got into painting?
Yes. Well, I am a first generation tradesman in this industry. My dad was a military man, so he was an airborne jumper. He did lots of years in the airborne and worked remustered to a welder. So no actual painting or drywall experience. But
Okay.
I was a I was an intelligent kid in school, but I knew that school wasn't for me as one of these guys. So I got up to about grade 10 and a half and grade 11 in and around there. And I
Okay.
thought, no, I'm going to just spread my wings and become a telemarketer. So
Wait, what do you mean by you were an intelligent kid? You got good grades, school came easy to you.
yeah, like I was intelligent, like intelligent in school, but I was just a little like, I don't know how to explain it. I just always knew when I was in high school that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to work in sales or possibly with my hands, and I couldn't get done school fast enough. So the type of guy I am, I'm not a guy that likes to wait for shit. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
hell with it. I know everything. I'm
Yeah.
16, 17 years old. I'm quitting
Yeah.
school. Here I go. Right. So
Yeah.
parents were obviously super impressed about that. So way I went, quit
Yeah.
school, became a telemarketer. So just this kind of morphs into the painting thing. And
Yeah.
I was living in
You
Brandon.
had a hankering to do sales. So you
Yes.
jumped into telemarketing. Like
Yes.
that
Right.
seems like a nightmare to me.
What attracted me, I seen a little ad in the paper. I was living in Brandon, Manitoba, in the prairies. Just like your flyover states, that's our flyover provinces. I was living
Okay.
there. My dad was in the army close by, and yeah, I seen a little ad in the paper, and it said, "Call Mr. Jones, looking for help with police and fire organizations telemarketing." So
Okay.
this company from the States, from Massachusetts or whatever, came through Canada, and they would work for like you're in Albuquerque, the Albuquerque Police Department, and they do these little like child safety handbooks. Yeah, I don't know if you remember all that shit back in the day, and like
Hmm.
the drugs and alcohol awareness. And so
Yeah.
you'd be calling people, like call you up, hey Nick, it's Jammie calling on behalf of the
Yeah,
Regina.
we had
Pizza, Brenda.
the Dare program.
Yes, just like that.
Yeah.
I get paid commission. I can't remember what it was exactly, but I was making good money, man, because I realized right away, I'm like, oh, people really like I'm gentle on the phone, and I was able to like get people to
Okay.
pledge money. So I started with that, and then basically that took me into Saskatchewan. I'd applied, kind of got set up there with the same company, and as I was working, I applied for a job at the local paper. It was called the Regina Leader Post, and for the telemarketing manager. And I always looked a little bit older than I was, but I was like a just fresh 18-year-old kid, walk in like a boss, right? Like people
Yeah.
were probably thinking I had to lie, had no high school education, had to like lie about that. Sorry, Leader Post, if anyone's watching, but I did lie.
That's
I'm not
cool.
high school educated. Loser. Just kidding.
Yeah. We're
So
all
anyway,
we're all posers.
yeah, I'm a poser.
Before we're not. Before we're not.
So long story short, I ended up getting hired, and I have like 20 employees, making like close to 90 grand a year at back in 1996 or whatever it was, right?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I was doing well. So um, sitting at a table, this is where the painting comes in. Sitting at my table one night, having a couple beers with some buddies, and my one buddy's like, "But man, I need a job, man." You know, like these guys are like, we're all young, right? And I said, "Well, what the fuck do you know what to do?" And he goes, "Well, I used to paint with my uncle." I says, "Let's start a fucking painting company." And we looked at each other, we're drunk, high five. We're starting this painting company, and I'm a type of guy. If I have a thought in my head, we're executing it. If it's rare that I'm not executing the thought. So,
well, but like, were you really thinking, because you're giving up a 90K, that's a lot of money in the 90s job to go fucking start a painting company?
Okay, here's the kicker. So we start. I said, well, I can get deals with Leader Post because I work at the paper, and they give me free classified ads, right? So this is how I'm thinking. So that was the seller, and like I know nothing about painting, right? I'm like, oh god, this should be interesting.
Hey, Jamie, no offense, what's there to know?
Okay, so anyways, that's a good point. Yeah, I'll say that.
Sorry, hey, if you're a painter out there and you're listening, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, we've all hopped the same fumes. You're all right.
Okay.
You're okay, man. So anyways, so we start this thing. Buddy's name's Adam. Adam Wolbaum was his name. Adam, if you're out there, I hope you're doing well, buddy.
Shout out to Adam.
Shout out to Adam. I know you like the names and that, so that's his name. And so basically, me and Adam start this. Partnership works for about 3 weeks, right? I said,
beautiful.
Okay, I'm gonna sell all the jobs. You're gonna do the painting. We're like, where are we gonna buy the paint? We start looking around. Liquidation world.
That's really smart. That's really smart out of the gate. I'm gonna sit in the office and I'm gonna do what I do best. And you're gonna go do all the work.
That's it, man.
We'll split it 50-50.
50-50. So, but it wasn't that. But I was covering going around the gas, and I was picking up the material for him. So, anyways, this lasted 3 weeks, by the way, before I was like, this guy was just not reliable. I had enough of him. I'm like, screw this guy. I'll do it myself. I can paint. This can't be hard, right?
Nah.
So anyways, we basically, our partnership ended in 3 weeks, and I just kept
you're painting by hand at this point. I wouldn't jump ahead. You're not like spraying out like track houses. This is like get a call from paint fence, go paint a room for a lady, something.
Oh, so I have to tell you about my first ever estimate. You'll get a kick out of that. So anyway, so long story short, Adam goes. I just continue doing it. So that's kind of where my painting.
Adam had the idea, but he turned out to be a lazy ass. What was the story there?
He was just lazy, unmotivated, complaining. I wanted to keep my job at Leader Post, which I did as I'm running the painting company. So I would work at the Leader Post from 1 to 9 every day and sitting at this desk and running all these telemarketers in front of me. And I'd be sitting there with the old school, I think it was the BlackBerry back then or whatever it was, Blueberry or some berry. And anyways, and I'd be taking calls for, hi, I'm calling about your ad in the Leader Post for a painter. And I'm sitting there with my telemarketers like, doing my business, right? So it was a good little turn. So I just basically I'll tell you about my first ever quote too. The lady calls me from the paper when me and Adam first started going, oh, I've got an apartment I need done. And she was older, right? So I go into this apartment, just a chain smoking machine, this lady, right? Like beautiful. Smoke everywhere.
Yeah.
So I look around, I have no idea how much things cost. I didn't do any homework, right? So I'm looking around and red in the face, and she's sitting on a rocking chair, probably 75 years old. I look over and I say, so what do you figure this is worth? I say,
Nice.
and you know what she says to me? I'll never forget this. I know the building and everything, and she goes, she looks at me, she goes, huh? What do you think it's worth? That's why I fucking called you.
That's awesome.
So that was really humbling. So I
She's
think I
like,
sold it for
you're
600 bucks.
fired. You're fired. I'm going to call somebody else.
I got the job. She had to pay me in
Nice.
installments because she was on like a social security or whatever the hell.
Okay.
She had to pay me installments. It was a $600 job.
All
Um,
right.
just a nightmare painting heavy stippled ceilings with rollers, getting paint all over the face. So, anyways, that was my introduction to it. So it was kind of, but I stuck with it, man. And I started realizing if I hire guys with 15 to 20 years experience, I'm still going to pay them the 50% of the contract. And I'm going to come on the sites with them and not charge them. Good deal for them, but I'm getting my
Did you
50%.
have, did you go out and get like business license? Like were
Yes.
you were legit and all that stuff. So you're a pretty smart guy. For that young, I would say you're in the 19 to 20 age
Yes. I was around 18,
realm.
19. Yeah.
That is young to jump out and start your own business. You know, as you now know, that would, there's no way. I think about when I was eight, I was I didn't know how
Yes.
to do anything. Even when I was getting into drywall in my early 20s, it was like, what are these guys doing? I don't know it wouldn't have even occurred to me to start my own business until 10 years later. It's always so profound to me, people that start businesses. Faith Baelish was just on the show. Like
Yeah.
those kids,
People.
they're just doing it. It's so cool. Like
I talked to I talked to her partner quite a bit there. He's a great guy. Yeah,
Ty.
Tyler. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
him and I talk and through Instagram too. I always
Does
anyone
he
that
ask you questions?
yeah, oh yeah, and I tell everybody I can on here like I'm not on here for like the like obviously for self promotion on Instagram and that, but I
Yeah.
really want to be. I think there's like a hierarchy of people that are needed in this community, and I like to be more like a just like a voice for someone to come to me. I get back to them right away if they have a question or they're in a situation, somebody's trying to screw with them
Hmm.
or something like a guy from Toronto just reached out to me, had a problem with one of his popcorn ceiling removal. So he sent me pictures. I just want to be like not a gatekeeper, just try to pay it forward to people.
But when somebody has the wherewithal to reach out and say something nice, it's so powerful.
Yeah.
I try to do that myself to other people as much as I can, or say something on the, hey man, that looks clean, or nice work. Occasionally it's just like you're scrolling by these guys that just do bomber work, and you see a post with zero comments, and you just got to be like, dude, that's smoking. Looks
Yeah.
great, something
Yes.
simple.
Yes.
Um,
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, that's the type of person I really am. Like if anyone that
yeah.
would get to know me and stuff, I was a type of kid that, would notice if a girl came to school in a ponytail or if my teacher got a haircut, I would say, Mrs. Smith, I really like your hair today. I'll notice if my client, if I'm in a client's house for 2 weeks, if she in the middle of the job gets her hair done, she comes in, or even the husband, I'll say, Joe, buddy, I love your haircut. Like I just try to notice things with people and try to kill people with kindness. Always, I spent a lot of years faking it till I made it sort of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of no, it's a nice way to be, man, for sure. Just be
Yeah.
true and be a good guy.
I think I might get to go see those guys. Chad Hesher has a big drywall fresco job coming up. He might
I
be
heard.
inviting those Ty and Faith down. I might go up just to do a cameo, maybe
Yeah,
check in on a retailer in that area for fresco. But it'd be cool to see those guys, give them some
yes.
tips. Chad's a good guy. He's like he nails down a lot of work. What was the name of your first painting company?
I called it Jamie Burke's painting. Just
Okay.
plain and
All
simple,
right.
man. That was it. My name is Jamie Burke. It is with two M's. My dad filled out all of
Yeah.
our kids' birth certificates. I'm Jammie. My brother's Jordan, and my sister's Candace. So he
So,
spelled everything
okay.
wrong.
Jammie.
Jammie. People were like, I'm sitting in a doctor's office or Jammie Burke. I'm just like, son of a bitch.
And so I assume when you first started out, your name, you used the two M's, but as time progressed, you got tired of like dealing with people saying your name wrong. So you're just like, I'm gonna spell it wrong on my business title so
Pretty
that people
much.
start. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I wasn't incognito. I wasn't trying to get away from the Jammie that bad. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
my name, Jammie Joseph Burke,
yeah.
man. I'm the real Jam.
We be jammying painting. We be jammying. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Peanut butter and
I'll
jam.
work on it. I'll work on it. Call Jammie Burke painting. That's pretty straightforward,
Call
simple.
Jamie. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but yeah,
call
that's
Jammie.
that that's where I kind of got my start, man, and and then basically morphed into drywall. Like how much drywall finishing, and I used to always really envy the drywall finishers. Like I'm a young lad just finishing,
Why?
and I'd walk in and be like, man, these boys on the trowels, like I'm a hawk and trowel guy,
Yeah,
like I'm a trowel man, and I uh I just really looked up to them, and like I
yeah.
remember taking on my first actual oh my god, my first taping job using mud out of the box. No one ever told me about getting a mixer. I was like just taking it
No.
straight out of the box, man,
Yeah,
putting it on. Just
yeah,
a like I would hate to see that house to this day, but yeah, just I always looked up to drywall finishers, and I always could
yeah.
see myself morphing into that, and that's what I
Did
did.
you? Did you? Was that what year was that? When
Uh,
how
I
far
started
was that
going.
into your painting?
I went to Alberta. That's like where Dusty's at there. I left for Alberta. They had a big boom there, like in Alberta
Yeah.
in 2005, 2006, around there, all the way to 2010. And I was living in the prairies. And in Alberta, you could literally, like, the word was coming across the prairies saying, hey, guys that are good finishers and that for painting, taping, you were getting almost three times the amount to go out to Alberta. So I'm
Okay.
like, I'm going to Alberta. Like, went there, hired a bunch of guys, started going
You
into
you
it.
met Dusty out there?
No, I never met Dusty. But
Oh,
I just
okay.
met him
That
through
was later.
Instagram. But so I went to and when I went to Alberta around that time, that's when I started getting into the drywall finishing too. So that would have been in around 2000, 2005, in and around there is when I really started. So I'd say about the last, close to 20 years, I've been hard at and
Yeah.
just finishing. I never really got into hanging just because I just wanted to be proficient at the one thing. So I really
Yeah.
put a lot of time and effort. I started I started by using the super taper, like just pulling super tape, never used the bazooka. I bought a bazooka, typical,
We
used
call
it.
that on the Drywall podcast. We call that the shit box, Jamie.
Okay, the ship box. Okay, that's it. So I still use it. I just used it at my last job. I still got my original super taper, man.
J-Wall. You're gonna see J-Wall's videos of him using
Yeah,
the shit box. Oh my God. And the honky tonk taper. He's a big fan. Who else? Who else uses it? Do the Gilbert taping?
I think they might.
They were doing some videos recently where they were using the bazooka. So they're starting to climb on board. But
Okay,
super
yeah.
taper. So do you started out using it? Why did you start out using that method? Did you see someone?
Yeah, like guys, I mean, I met a lot of beauties through the years too. A lot of guys really that I hold in my heart that taught me my skill and really got me to where I'm at. And started working with some real, what you guys call drywall gangsters out there, really. And those guys were all super taper guys, and then they'd flush
Okay.
everything, use a corner roller, right?
All right.
Can-Am gear,
Yeah.
uh, corner roll it, and then flush it, and then using the way I was taught is then I'd use the applicator again and put the mud on once your tape's dry and then flush it that way, right? Kind of old school.
All
And
right.
everything else with Hawk and Trowel. I did have the boxes. I had some Columbia Fat Boys like back in the day with the stick and the old Columbia pump and the hand pump.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I used them on some jobs, but I really prefer to finish by hand. That's just how I was taught by a lot of these old timers. Like
Okay.
I came up with those guys, and I'm real proficient on any size of hawk and trowel. I can fly, man.
Okay. All right. So you tried the box, but you still prefer to do it by hand. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
because with the box, like out here, like in Ottawa, these guys that are ripping through new construction and that I'm finding with the boxes, you got to be real careful. It's really easy that for your flat ceilings to hump, eh? Like, you get I don't know if they're not wiping properly, but you get a little bit of humps with the wrong types of light, and
Yeah,
that kind of made me nervous too, because I'm a sealant specialist really, so I like everything
right.
super smooth. And
It's
so yeah,
improper. I would chalk that up to improper use of the box.
yes,
That would be more what they would say when I was coming up would be operator error,
okay,
If
okay.
those boxes are dialed, they should run okay. But I mean, some people too just prefer hand taping, and there's no hand finishing. There's no shame in it. I do you still feel like it takes a little longer, but you just don't care?
Yeah, because most of the stuff I'm in now, like I'm a direct homeowner worker. Like I have been
Okay.
for since I got rid of my crews, which has been a while. I have my
Okay.
son, Sonny boy Jackson. He works with me, and my wife does the quotes and that. But I don't have any outside help in that. Um, but yeah, mostly the reno jobs I do in that. I go pretty quick with Hawk and Trowel. I like it. I like everything
Yeah.
nice and wide. Like with the guys that are doing the new stuff. I mean, everything's nip and tuck. I mean, your butts are nice and wide, but your
Yeah.
bearings are fairly. But I like still widening out my even
Yeah.
my
Like
bins,
it's
like
seven, they're like using 7 and 10. We used to use 10 and 12. But
yes.
then now they even have like 14 inch, I think.
I like it. I like everything wide, even with the trowel. There's
Yeah.
nothing.
I
There's
do
no
too.
harm in floating it. I'm really big on floating and make in my business. Everything got to be smooth, man. Like transforming popcorn. It's
Right.
people are looking for. Yeah, so that's kind of where I got into doing drywall too, and just it was a really big learning curve, man. It took me a lot longer to become a good drywall finisher than it did for a painter. I'll tell you that. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I was a lacquer spray man. Like I was spraying lots of like high end new homes and stuff back in the day too, doing a lot of custom lacquer spray. And
Okay.
so yeah, so this day, I mean, I try to avoid people. A lot of customers will say, "Oh, can I get a quote to paint the house too?" And I'm kind of like, I
You
just
don't
I
even want to paint.
no, I usually say no, to be honest, because I get
Yeah.
like I probably, this isn't a brag or nothing, but like we probably get, I don't know how many people reaching out a week, maybe 10 to 20. Meaning, with me, it's just when you get to a point and you're a pinnacle of what you're doing, and it just doesn't become as much. For me, it just stopped becoming interesting.
Yeah.
I needed something more. It's like I don't know. I'm not a drug addict, but like a drug, he just needs a little bit of more of something. It's like I was so into doing what I was doing, but I wanted something. I wanted something more to go with my repertoire. Or I'm saying that
Yeah.
wrong, but so
Yeah.
yes, I went into that, and I'm glad I stuck with it, because there's lots of times I had a lot
Yeah.
of people critical, man, when you're just starting out drywall finishing, and you got some real pros coming and looking at your work. And
Yeah.
it was back in our day, man. Guys are pissing around. They're letting you know right to your face what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is this hacker? Yeah. You probably got probably a few months of that.
Oh man, I in Alberta, sorry, let me know if I'm jumping ahead and I'll jump back. But
No.
uh, before the recession came in, after the glory years of the boom and everybody would, making big money in that, um, I seen the recession in the horizon. I was always like, I'm a big news guy. I was watching. I said, Jesus
Okay.
Christ, it's coming down the line. Work started slowing up. So what I did
Yeah.
is that the job supers I worked for in Alberta, the a couple of them were morphing into multifamilies, and one guy especially. I won't say his name because I got a story to tell about that too. But he
Okay.
said to me, I want to take my trades with me. I'll come do multifamily, so these 80 to 100 suite buildings, but I want to take my guys with me. So he wanted me to come with him to do all the texturing, all the
Okay.
knockdown texture, and all the painting. So I had to get a crew of like 15 guys, and we did these big
Wow.
buildings. So that really helped me with production aspect too. It wasn't any finishing, and believe it or not, I said, I thought, it's got to be all popcorn ceiling. We're spraying on these ceilings in these buildings. I said to buddy, I said, what are we doing what's the finish on the ceilings? Knockdown. I thought to myself, I said, son of a bitch, I don't know how to do knockdown.
Yeah.
So I start looking on YouTube, right? So I learned how to do knockdown on YouTube. I think my first building, there was 80 suites. All 80 of them had different patterns. Like it was just, but they passed it. And then it got
Yeah.
around the building. So like the electricians, and I was still a fairly young tradesman. So that was the joke. That's the, buddy learned it on YouTube. That's the YouTube knockdown finisher. So there's a lot of like that
Whatever. The
stuff.
money,
Yeah.
the money spends the same.
Yeah, that's it, man. So I cashed
How'd you
in. So
do? How'd you do on those multifamilies?
I
Did
did
you do
good.
it?
I did about 6 buildings like in a row.
No, I mean, did you make good money on them?
Yeah, like I think I was pulling out, it was around 100 grand a month, like bringing in around that. But I mean, I had to pay the guys and everything too.
Yeah, yeah,
It was steady. It was a little different for me because I was used
yeah,
to jumping around like new sites
yeah,
and some residential live-ins. And I was, so yeah, it was different. It was I don't know if I'd want to do it again. It was a lot of stress, a lot of babysitting, a lot of,
yeah,
dealing with guys, man. This industry could be
yeah,
challenging, right? So it's,
yeah,
yeah,
for
but yeah,
sure.
but everything I've done to this point, I always think, it's been a piece of it that's kind of all those little pieces have made me kind of what I am to this day, and I'm very thankful for all those opportunities that I did have.
Yeah, yeah. Very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. So, what time period would you say this multifamily project, and then I guess that was sort of your catalyst to become like just specialize in drywall finishing and start uh,
Yes.
tamping down or fading out of the painting aspects.
Yeah, that's when I definitely started fading more into the finishing. That was from around 2009 to 2011. And at that point, I'd just gone through a super bad like divorce, like custody battle, blah blah blah.
Okay.
Like most guys in this industry have gone through. But so I was pretty down in the dumps and kind of, just looking for a change and this and that. So
Yeah. How
um
how old about that time? I guess you're 30,
33, 33 in and around there,
30
something like that.
33-ish. Okay.
So I
And
so
you
basically,
had two kids previous marriage.
yes. So I got married at 19
Okay.
to a lady and had two kids, Zach and
Okay.
Zayden, who are both
What about
fantastic.
Jackson? Where's Jackson coming in?
Okay, so then I at time I was 23, divorced, like just like we're both young, just like what the hell's going on here? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we got divorced and went fairly good. And then that's when I went out to Alberta. My little kids, they were pretty young then, missed me so much. Their mom was actually like, I don't know how to say this without sounding weird. She wasn't like a messed up mom. I let me have one of my sons, Zach, first, and then because I went to Alberta, I was 7.5 hours away from her, and within
Okay.
4 months, I had my other son. She let me have both sons. She figured that they'd have the best chance being raised with their dad, which a lot of moms would not do that. I'm
Right.
so thankful to have that opportunity. So here I was raising the kids, right? So I had both my sons with me up there, and
You
uh,
don't know why she chose to do that.
just
Was she maybe she was going through a hard time or that it just isn't for everybody?
yeah, like she's a really good woman too, man. And she
Sure.
just she literally just her heart. She knew the kids, Zach especially, my oldest. Him and I are like super tight. We had
Okay.
it since he's little. So when he came, I think she was cool with that because we both kind of had a son each. And then Zayden was just missing Zach and then missing me. So we worked it out, and she ended up moving to Alberta too. Obviously, within probably 6 or 7 months of all this happening. So she was living close by, so she was still able to have her visitation every second weekend and stuff like that. So I met
Okay.
them, and I met Jackson's mom.
I'm assuming that you've been married three times then.
3 times, man. Yeah,
Okay. All right. A
I'm on
three
my third.
timer.
I always tell people.
Third time's a charm, right?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's I always tell people if you're Catholic, you marry your lovers. If you're not Catholic and you want to, people say, "Oh man, I've never been married. You've been married 3 times. Holy fuck, what a loser!" But it's like, yeah, but how many times have you broken up with your women? You're not married. You're 45 and you've been in 7 relationships. Good for you. I actually married my women. I actually
Yeah.
like, gave them a commitment and I married them.
Well,
So.
another saying is you can't catch a fish if your line's not in the water.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So basically, so yeah, so I was like 27 and thought it'd be a good idea to find myself a 20-year-old or whatever it was when I found her, and
Okay.
uh, she loved the business, loved more of the spending side of it.
Uh,
She was in the spending
okay.
department, I was in the making department. So yeah, but yeah, it
This
was just
was your life. You had like an early midlife crisis,
yes,
younger woman.
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
totally.
Yeah.
Because I got married young, and my parents had me young, so I always thought to myself, man, I'm going to do the same thing, follow my parents' footsteps. But basically give up all your younger years of, partying and all that. So you always have that kind of in you too when you're
You
going
were
through it.
always in a hurry. Like
That's it.
even out of high school, it's like, I'm gonna quit high school, I'm gonna start a business. Like you were in a hurry to get your life going.
That's it, man. That
Seems
is
like all
exactly.
of the time.
And
Yeah.
I come from a family full of mental illness, so like I'm not afraid
Okay.
to talk about it. I'm a pretty open guy. So
Sure.
I've I've struggled a bit with like some anxiety,
Okay.
a little bit of mania, like not too crazy, but like I don't drink alcohol or nothing like that. I'm not
Yeah.
that type, but I can, as I get older, I can control a little bit better. But we all have something to us, man. Some people talk about it, some people don't. I'm a big
Yeah.
advocate for it. I see it through, I have 5 children and 2 stepchildren. So I see it through all my kids, like just bits of me that they've inherited too. And it's something, man. But yeah, you're right though. That I would contribute more to those little aspects in me that I just wasn't able to control. I can't explain it properly, but when you have certain types of mental illness, you're sometimes you just do things and you think you'll just deal with it. You'll deal with the aftermath later, right? Sort of thing. I don't know how to explain that without sounding too stupid,
Yeah.
but I went through a lot of that, man. I had to learn a lot of lessons the tough way, and a lot of it based on my own decision making. Um, and in saying that, I also have like a massive heart, so like I overthink a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that it's a real weird mix, right? Because it's like, but it is getting better as I'm getting older. I definitely feel like I'm feeling a little more
Yeah.
grounded. But yeah, that's
40s or yeah, 40s you start to have some wisdom. I wouldn't
yeah,
say there's a right or wrong way to do it. I'm going through a separation, it's sort of last. I haven't gotten divorced yet. It's been amicable.
okay.
Very challenging. I didn't want to get divorced.
Oh man, that's so sad.
And then we get the just one kid. So that's like, very difficult. He's doing fine. We're both good. There's no crazy attorneys, like nothing like that. Still, like, my brother died in 1991.
Oh
This is a close second to the
yes,
that.
it's a
Like,
death,
as far
man.
as life challenges, there's no, and just, I mean, whether you've been married one or three times, I don't think it's probably any less painful each time,
But that's how much
You
you love.
just,
That's how much you love your woman, man. Because
yeah.
you get that, the heart, like the fluttering when you first meet somebody, and you feel
Yeah.
so wonderful, and you also know the pain one, man. Like when you're, I remember that some nights sitting like with my second wife, especially, just killed my heart, right? Like it was just,
Yeah.
and the pains that you'd have, and like and those are the ones, the opposite of the fluttering. Those are the ones that. But
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
Love is a crazy thing, man. It's such a
Hmm.
powerful
Yeah.
thing. It's unbelievable.
I mean, the other side of it is just don't get into, I know people that aren't in relationships, they're sort of like just, content to forge life alone. And yeah, there's sort of a safety there as well, that where you don't get to experience the joys of being in a relationship and things like that. So everything comes at a cost,
We're meant to pair, man. Humans are meant
I think
to
so.
we're
Yeah.
meant to be like with each other socially, physically. People that
Yeah.
I'm happy being alone. It's like, are you
Yeah.
really happy being alone?
It's safer, but you don't get to have that companionship, which I think is a big deal.
Yes. Yes.
Zach, Zayden, and then second marriage you had
Just Jack. I had Jackson, and then we had a pretty traumatic
you had
experience.
Jackson with the second
Yeah, I was
marriage.
with the second woman will remain unnamed.
Okay.
Still a little bitter on that one.
Yeah, that's okay. We
But
won't
first
give
one,
we
it's all
should
good.
no shout out to number
Yeah, no,
two.
no negative shout outs from this big fella. I'm just trying to be honest, man. I just try to tell it how it is. I know
Yeah, that's fine.
quoting anything, just kind of just
Yeah.
comes straight up the middle, man. That's it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so I was with her for what, 4 years, 4 to 5 years,
Okay.
whatever. And yeah, so we had Jackson, that was in 2007, was it? 2007. Yeah, and yeah, and then we so went through that, and then ended up breaking up, and um I was a single dad once again, and she had Jackson, and I had Zach and Zayden, and we're living in Calgary, Alberta. And
Okay.
anyways, I shouldn't say that. You know what? I got to correct something. I've been on social media twice in my life. At that point, I thought I'm going to hook up on Facebook and just try to see people
Beautiful.
that I knew back in
Sure.
the day. So I was on for a very short time just on Facebook back then. And up comes Pam. And Pam and I were next door neighbors as kids in Calgary on the base. Our dads were both in the
Your
military.
plan worked. You went on social media to find
Yeah.
an old person that you could get with. Pam pops
Yes.
up. You're like, there she is.
Um,
Pam, if he doesn't tell it right, we can cut this part out.
she's there with the stick. If I get out of hand,
Yeah.
she's hitting me in the
Yeah.
head.
Yeah, she'll whack
Yeah.
you.
So anyways, we started talking on Facebook, and she was living in Ottawa. That's where I'm at here. I was living in Calgary,
Okay.
and it's around a 38-hour drive. That's how far we are, right? So from each other, and I started really connecting with her, like just like feeling like this, like butterflies right away, and we're talking about old memories growing up and that, and I said to her what type of guy I am. I'm like, no, I'm an action guy. I'm like, what are you doing next weekend? I said, I'm going to fly up and see you. It was like a 4-hour flight. She's like, really? I'm like, I'm coming. So I came up, just obviously fireworks. It was just fantastic. Had a wonderful weekend. We decided,
Wait, Pam, you didn't think he was a creeper at that point?
No.
come on, be honest.
You're like, all right, but
It
you
came as
gotta get a
advertised.
hotel room, fella.
Yeah. So I come up and my kids, their mom had them that weekend. So I flew up and we had a really nice weekend. And then the next time she come up, brought her kids up for Thanksgiving, flew up to Calgary. And I was like, my kids in Alberta were not happy that I was doing this, but I'm like, I had to do it, man. I said, guys, we got to go to Ottawa. I love this girl. I don't know what it was.
It's
I knew it was
awesome.
something real special. So as much as my boys love me, I left Jackson back in Alberta, because that's where his mom was. And so
Yeah,
I had to convince Zach and Zayden's mom that we were on that. She really respected me for, being a dad and all that. And I
yeah,
had to convince her that I can take Zach and Zayden, and I was able to. And it was devastating because Jackson was back there, right? So, but within
yeah.
time, I got to get the lawyers involved, and I was able to, all the holidays I paid for the flight. So they'd put him in, with an attendant on the airplane, and he'd be doing the flying back and forth, come for the summer for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Then he'd always say to me, Dad, I really want to live with you, and all that. And I really wanted him to, but his mom was not having any of it. Right. So
Right.
as he got a bit older, it was about 11, around 11 years old. We kept working on it. I got my lawyer involved. We started going back and forth, and she started opening up to it a little more because he was really putting, from what I think, the pressure on her. And,
Okay.
and through a lot of back and forth in that, I got him, man. He came to live with me. So here I was again I had all my three boys, like just straight
And
up.
then did Pam have any kids?
Yeah, Pam has a son who's now 25.
Okay.
And she has a daughter who's 20. So she had both those kids. When I met the kids they were pretty young, like
And then you both had two together.
yeah, and we have two together. So we have
That's
a
three,
family,
four, five. That's seven
7,
kids.
5 boys and 2 girls. So we have Ronnie and Piper together. Those are our little and Jackson. Pam's pretty much been raised in Jackson, or known him since he was 5 years old, right? So he's been a
Right.
big presence. So he's at his mom's right now. I still fly him up there in the summer. He's gone for 5 weeks to mom. So I don't have my little sidekick Sonny boy working with dad. So I'm solo right now, but I'm sure
Okay. Jackson works with you.
Jackson. Yeah, I call him Sonny boy
Cool.
on the
Sunny
real
boy.
one. Yeah,
Um,
he's doing awesome. He's a real great worker. And my son Zach, my oldest son, also
yeah.
worked for lots of years too. So he's now working in oil and gas.
Okay. All right. All right. So these guys learned the value of work ethic and all that stuff. And then you guys get to raise I think raising a 8-year-old, now we both have the same sort of age child in the 40s, is just like it's like magic. It's like you're old enough and wise enough to appreciate where they are in their life and like these like beautiful moments. I only have the one. But what a blessing. I'm not a crazy basket case like in my 20s or 30s, like I have the wherewithal to appreciate where I'm at, in that process.
it makes you really understand that there really is so much more to life, especially when you have a child.
Yeah.
And like I'm a hunter, man. Like that's what gets me out of bed. I mean, I'm full
Okay.
of aches and pains. I'm a 78 born guy, right? So not too far from
Yeah.
yourself. And
Yeah.
just so many like, I mean, even at my age right now, I'm buying what I'm probably putting on 50 to 60 pails of mud a month, a month.
Okay.
That's how much like skimming I'm doing, a lot of sealing work. And
Yeah.
but
Palette.
yeah, yeah, pretty much, man. I'm buying it, but yeah, with the kids, man, it keeps me grounded. It keeps me focused. Makes me hungry to want to provide a good life for them, for all my kids, and
Yeah.
lead by example. I mean, I'm definitely a workaholic, always have been.
Yeah.
My kids know that, but even my older ones, they say to me often, we'll be talking on the phone. They're out west and that, but they say to me, "Oh, Dad, now that we're kind of grown up, we just really appreciate like how looking back, how hard you always worked for us." And they tell me nice little pieces like that. So really gets the heart going, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They see all that stuff. The kids they're pretty sharp. They see
Yes.
everything you're doing. He was with me at the game last night. I lost it a little bit. I mean, the guy came up and yelled in my face, and like, I
Oh,
hacked him a little bit, and then the ref came over and he got mad at me and he was yelling at the ref. The ref like puts up a yellow card, and I as soon as the ref does that, I turn around and walk off the field. I'm like, I'm done. At that point, I'm done. It's like, okay, walk off the field. But we had a talk about it, like on the way home. It was like, I lost it out there. I lost
composure.
my composure. Yeah, and they took me out of the game. I had these shots right in front of the goal. Like, I'm a finisher, I'm a forward. I normally score every game. I had these shots right, that I've missed
Yeah.
because I wasn't playing my game. So we're talking about that, and like, he's like, yeah, blah blah blah, and the girls, I'm like, it's really easy to get taken out of your game. You have to maintain your composure. And like, we were at that 4th of July party. A younger kid was, a 5-year-old was like, being a 5-year-old, kind of ornery. Man, he was like, got into his head, like all the way on the way home. He's talking about like this kid, like, and like, I can't believe he was doing that. And like, he was so mad. And I had to remind him though, I was like, just like at the party, remember? Like we were telling you to like get over it and you couldn't. It was that guy got in your head. And so these little lessons of life, they're fabulous. There's no shortage of learning opportunities.
Look at the smile on your face, man. See, like
Yeah,
just that's what I'm
love that.
talking about. It's like,
Love that.
yes, that's what it's like. Just us smiling right now, thinking about our kids,
Yeah.
man. That's just
Well,
that
and
almost
like,
doesn't match.
my dad or something would have gotten a fight with the guy. That's my fear. Like, I don't want to get
Yeah.
in a fist fight with the guy on the soccer field. Like, that's ridiculous. It's okay for him to see that I'm human, but it's even more important to see, like, because they're watching, goes back to, they're
Yes.
watching how we react to situations, what we
Oh,
do. They're
sponges,
little
man.
sponges. Yeah.
Yeah, but you did the right thing. You stood up for yourself, man. Next time he's on a playground, right? Like if you're now he's gonna say, "Hey, man, my dad stood up." He'll remember that, right? And like,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Like
is which is also good.
I definitely don't get walked on, but very
That's
cool.
awesome.
So we have a clear picture of the family tree here a little bit, or at least the immediate family tree.
Yes,
You
sir.
are doing, and then now you're just doing. So I feel like at a certain point in time, you regressed, if you will, into just now you just work alone.
Yes, I
You're
worked
like,
alone
screw
for
employees. Like it took you a while to get to that point too. You sort of had to learn the hard. I never really got employees. I was always kind of like had the wherewithal to be like, employees suck.
yeah. Oh
I
God.
wish I wish I could elaborate. Like, I'll just do it myself and make, the money that I spend trying to train people and go through that is just not worth the pain and heartache.
Oh my God, man. Like yeah, the stories. Most of the guys I work with, like I'll look them up online every once in a while just to Google their name. Like so many guys are dead, man, like just dying at young ages. Like
Yeah.
it's really sad to actually some of my biggest mentors I've lost young, right? Like just kind of guys that are
Yeah.
the tough industry, man, especially like
Hmm.
guys that go real hard and go it's just a tough racket and it's tough to
Yeah.
it's hard on your family life. It's hard on
Crackheads. They're crackheads, Jamie.
crackheads. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, cracker jacks. Yeah. When I used to hire guys in Alberta and guys can back in the day, literally there was no one to pick from, man, because everybody was busy. And so I'd hire guys. I'd have to ask literally, like, if anyone's listening from occupational or labor board, plug your ears. But I'd
Yeah.
have to ask them. I'd say, okay, buddy, I sit down, I look at them, I say, what's your handle? They say, what the fuck do you mean? What's my hand? What's going on, man? You freshly divorced? Do you
Yeah.
have a home? Do
How
you
much
take care
how
of that
much do you drink a day? How many no, how
These
many
guys are bringing-
handles of vodka do you drink a day?
I have guys bringing like their lunch boxes, man. I open this one fucking guy in Alberta, Tom. I opened up his lunchbox one day just to see he's taking a piss. I look in the lunchbox. He got a 6 fucking pack in his lunch. I said, buddy, man, you don't even got a sandwich in there.
He's
You
like,
got a
I
6-pack
get
in
all
his
my
lunchbox."
calories from the beer.
But yeah,
That's
the
awesome.
employee, I got tired of it, man. But you know, just the minutia of like dealing with all different people, and most of them are hungover. Most of them, I mean, I was the advance king. It was like an algorithm. Like I guess that's the best way to say it. I had to learn with these guys. Okay, these guys need money every day. How much interest can I charge? No.
Advanced. I was gonna be like, what does that mean?
But no, I know. But I would basically, that's a little bit of a joke. But yeah, I would always take care of them, man. They need an advance. Like I have my checkbook. How much you guys? $100. If it just kept them going and it kept them getting me completions on these new projects I was doing, I had
Yeah.
to just get down to their level, man. Just like play with them, like kind
Well,
of
a
how.
lot of employees too, myself included, have trouble budgeting. I mean, I'm an artist. I'm not like, a business guy. I've become better at business, but I certainly money is not my strong suit, like a lot of us, and
Yes.
budgeting from job to job is challenging. And especially when I was working, those advances for somebody like me that showed up and put in a good day,
Yes.
they helped, So, I mean, I see where that can be a real double-edged sword.
And I always treated people, I was always, no matter what the guy was, man, I always would get to learn about his situation. I talked to him about his family. I would truly care about, almost treat them like my kids, right? Because your guys are a real important, they're important in a lot of ways, but if you can
Yeah.
get your ship kind of running how you want it, then obviously you're going to
Yeah.
profit from it, which is what got me into the popcorn sealing is I really wanted to create myself. You always have to separate yourself from the pack. That's what I always find in this industry. And growing up through the trades, coming up through, I'd always like if I was painting, okay, everybody's painting, but who's spraying lacquer? Oh, everybody just spraying, semi-gloss,
Yeah.
water base on everything. But who can spray lacquer? So then that got me with the more prominent builders that they're going to pay me that much more. And then I got into drywall finishing. Oh yeah, but Jammie, my last coat, if I did someone's taped in mud basement, I always put a final full skim on their ceilings if it's paint grade, right?
Okay.
I would do stuff like that. And then once I got my hands on all the Festool gear, before anyone was using Festool gear, when I first came out, I thought, holy Christ, if I can get a handle on dustless sanding and popcorn removal, no one's doing this. I'm going to master this and I'm going to separate.
How dustless is it?
Okay, here's the deal with the dustless, right? So it's not dust free.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys say,
Right.
some guys will send me a message, oh yeah, man.
No, you're
it's
still
dustless.
because my immediate question is going to be around asbestos. So the last job we
Yes.
did, it had asbestos. Like Chris was like, we kind of just scrape it anyways, like you scrape that stuff. I mean, you can cut down on the dust if you wet it. But
Yes.
you still have that crap going airborne. You want to wear a respirator if you're ever
Yes.
dealing with asbestos popcorn. I just cover it with a layer of mud.
Yes. There's
We
that
still
too.
had some coming down. So you'd have sections coming down. But what I found that the mud does, so I lay a layer of mud on quickset
Yeah.
and it seeps through. It kind of loosens that popcorn a little bit. But as
Yeah.
it dries, it locks it in. I feel like it reactivates the glue in the
Yes.
popcorn and locks it.
Yes. You're
We will
right.
get some sections that come down and then we hit those
Scrape
again.
them.
And then ultimately, I'm locking in the asbestos. It's not
Yes.
really going airborne. There's
Yes.
no sanding. But then, I was like, well, I was thinking to myself, well, if you had the Festool sander, it would catch a lot of that
So there's
particle.
the particle so there's a lot of different styles of sealant texture up here, right? So there's a real loose popcorn that's real dusty, that's never been sprayed. There's
Right.
popcorn that's been painted from the 70s with oil base. There's swirls,
Right.
there's all kinds of different
Right.
patterns, but the standard job, the rule up here in Canada is anything built before 1990 requires testing for asbestos, right? And so what that does is we give people a link to two companies in Ottawa that you basically scrape a little bit, put it in an envelope, bring it to this facility. 3 days later, they tell you what your percentage is if you have any asbestos
No
in it.
shit. No shit. You have
Yeah,
to before 1990.
yeah, man, you have to get it tested up here, and a lot of guys won't. But if you get caught by the
Right.
Ministry of Environment, it's a $25,000 fine if they catch you taking.
Okay.
So anyways, so you do that. So you always have to be on top of letting people know about that. When we get a quote come in, Pam can look on the computer, my wife, and she can see when the house is built. So if it's over 90, we don't even go into that conversation with people because it scares people, right? So anything before that, they get it tested. Now, as long as the test comes back up here, if the popcorn has 1% or less, does not require abatement. So, and if it does, we offer a fork direct coat over service. So I charge $6.50 a square foot up here for popcorn, right? $6.50. If you have asbestos in your ceiling, but you're still horny to get her off, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to charge you an extra $3.50 a square foot. I'm going to charge you $10 a square foot, and I'm going to put 4 skim coats. I'm going to use the first skim coat. I'm going to be mixing half mud, half 90. That's how I do it. Okay.
All right.
So I like it nice and thick. First time, and I put everything on with Hawk and Trowel with the 14.
Yeah.
And then I use skimming blades, and I'll skim blade it, right?
Do you find though that if you like I'll lay out, I've just used 90, like fuck it. I'll mix up 3 bags of that shit into 2 buckets.
Yes.
Like I'll lay out a whole bucket.
Okay.
And then I'll go back, and what happens is it kind of like saturates that ceiling, and it enables that popcorn to just lay down. Do you find that? Like just lays down beautifully. Yeah.
And, some of them, like some customers will be nervous because of the weight you're putting on their ceiling. They'll say to you like, well, that's a lot of weight up there. And I'll say, no, but it'll bond.
Our value.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you're getting it exactly. So the good thing about that is once you get to the oh Jesus, once you get to the 4th coat, then you can use the Festool sander at the end to sand, because now you're basically on mud. So I won't bring out the Festool till the very end.
Okay.
I use the MaxVac the HEPA air scrubbers in their home the whole time too. That's out of Switzerland. I use that system. So
okay.
People are comfortable with that. And then with the general popcorns, the ones that do come off that are built after 90, a lot of them I can take right down, but I still fully 2 skim coat the whole ceiling with plaster. With mud. Yeah. So I'll skim it the one day, the one direction. I get up, I'll put it on with the 14. Because some guys will roll with that, but I like it on a certain thickness. So I put it on, then I'll skim blade it all, make it look nice and pretty. Next day I'll come in.
What size skimming blade?
I use 3 different size. I use all level 5. I got a
level 5. Okay.
40, 32, and 24 is the one I want to use. All and so anyways, next day I'll do the opposite direction, and then the following day I'll sand with 220 on a soft pad with the Festool Plane X.
Okay.
And that 90% of that ceiling, there's next to no dust. I sand on a level 4 roughly, so I don't want to see dust coming out the side. So it's pretty much dust free that way. Okay. The only place you get dust, and I'll go around and I'll just mask off their registers and their cold air intakes. I'll put some 3M plastic on her. It's just the hand sanding, because I'll sand the whole perimeter with an angle saw.
Okay.
So I get up there. So that's the only place you're just getting dust just around the perimeter, vacuum right away. People
and then you're like, good luck, go find a painter.
No, I prime and paint it. It's included in my service. This is where everything morphing together.
Okay, so the painting came back into play because why not? Duh, we can do all in. Is that all in $10?
Yeah, so that'd be for the 4-coater. That's if somebody has asbestos. If it
does that include? Sorry, that's just
that's
asbestos.
The 4 coats. That's the. And
but
then
that does that include paint?
Yes, includes
those include
ceiling,
paint.
And includes material. We charge a premium for stairwells. Depending on the stairwell, it's kind of set up I have to put up. If I'm putting a plank or whatever, I'll charge a premium for the stairwell. Anything over 8 feet, I also charge extra if I'm climbing for 9 feet. So I get, and what else? For the 9 feet, yeah. So I charge for for those two?
We had a stairwell. I went 550 across the board, but I do that preliminary coat and
Yeah.
then 3 coat fresco done.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you got it.
So you have a heavy base coat with the fresco where you're leaving texture,
Yes.
like the lightning bolt with the pool trowel.
Yes,
Like
I like
no
that.
skin, it's skimming, but you're leaving like this weird little texture, a
Yeah.
subtle texture. And then second coat fresco, you do any color you want, but we did
Yes.
gallery pearl tight. And I went live. Did you watch any of the live videos recently where we were going over popcorn
On YouTube or
on the Fresco Harmony
no, but I
Instagram?
will. I have
Yeah,
not tried yet, but I
go check them
will.
out. So we're going
I'm an
over a
honest
little bit of
fella.
pop, and I'm talking about it. I went live and we're talking about what we're doing.
Yes.
But then 2 coats, so do a preliminary coat, 2 coats with the Fresco Harmony, and then sealer. Done. And that
Nice.
goes on with the Hawk and Trowel.
Yeah, that's something, man.
No sanding, no sanding.
There you go. That's even that's another benefit.
Just like
But even
um
but yeah, that's my niche. That's what I'm kind of known for around here. There's probably 10 other companies that are strong at it here. I
it's
would say
cool.
I would say I'm the leader. I'm not just like a humble brag, but just
Yeah.
I'm on a thing called Home Stars, which would be like your home advisor in the States or whatever the big top
Okay.
for trades. We have 500 and change reviews on there. So all super positive. That gives us a lot of
Yeah.
work too. It's better that I don't do any Google review stuff. I find that too loose. If I'm going for a cheeseburger and it's decent, I'm going to put a review on Google. But if somebody's with trades in that, Home Stars is kind of for the major cities in Canada, it's what homeowners, they trust that a lot more than Google. Yeah, so it's yeah, and knowing kind of where we have a $2,500 job minimum, man. That's what I'm at now. I'm not
Good
coming
for
to your
you.
house. I'm not coming to your house unless you got $2,500 for me. If you have one room or something,
Smart.
some people will pay that because with my setup and I'm
Yeah.
as you can see from my
It's a pain in the
pictures,
ass.
the pain in the ass. I don't want to. You run all these guys running around doing these like little jobs. I see them online and just like, oh
Yeah.
man. Once you get to the point,
Popcorn is a bitch. Like,
yes,
period. I just did a fresco job for 8, but my minimum is 1,600 with Fresco Harmony. Like,
there you go. You know, man.
I don't want to fuck with it. Like,
Yeah, there's no like
it's not
the
worth my
cost of
time. And for
everything.
what shit costs nowadays, it ain't
Yeah,
worth my time. Go
yeah,
hire
man.
somebody else. You want a fireplace with Fresco? It's gonna take me 4 hours. It's 1,600 bucks.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and the good thing is too, like even with Tyler, like and Faith, like I talk with Tyler, and I see a lot of him and me, right? Like just he's a young fella kind of coming through.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think like, oh man, I always tell these guys like I will help them, man. If people like want to screw around or they like, you know how it is, man. When you're younger, like you get a lot of
Yeah.
grief and a lot of different shit. But guys
Hmm.
like that, I always tell like if you're young like that and you have a passion for it, just stick with it and create your niche. Find that niche. Find that thing that you're really good at that people will let you know. Don't go searching for, hey, Mrs. Smith, how am I doing? No, Mrs. Smith will let you know if she likes it. And if she doesn't want to tell you
Yeah.
by talking, just look at her face. You know what this means? That means she
Yeah.
likes it.
Yeah. No news is good news. I always say like
Yeah, don't,
popcorn's just a pain though. It's just a pain. Like we're doing those sections and it's coming down and I'll scrape it back to where it like starts to lock in a little bit. But right, you get those big blisters sometimes, right?
yeah,
Do you get those?
you get those two. What you want to look at is if you get yourself a Festool, like a plain X sander or like a Merca or one of them, and just with the type of popcorn you're talking about with the more harder stuff. A lot of the jobs I do like that too. My machine, I'll use a 24 grit granite, like it's a burgundy sanding
Okay.
disc, and it just takes the tops of the popcorn off on those real painted ones. You just get, and the rest of it will feel.
Right,
You'll
right.
have a lot easy if you get yourself a sander. You'll thank me, and just a quick buff over it. And your first run will always be bumpy, especially on an aggressive popcorn. If you're going direct over, that's normal.
Yeah,
As you're pulling it, that's where you're gonna
yeah.
also want to pull in the opposite direction because you're kind of backfilling it too, which also there's a real art
Okay.
to it, man. It's like a real,
Yeah.
but it's then just getting it to the like even with popcorn ceiling removal, people say, well, I can skim ceilings, but even skimming, man, like I work under like crazy high light. I like everything to be like crispy, man, like
Yeah, yeah.
just beauty, right? Like it
Yeah, I
has to,
can tell.
yeah, like you have to have the passion. And but once you have all that, man, I always tell people too, once you have that skill, it's all about how you conduct yourself. If you're telling a person you're going to be there at a certain time, show up there. People remember, man, anything you tell and say to people, conduct yourself, be polite, be courteous of people's stuff, protect absolutely everything you can in their house.
Yeah.
Pet their dog, talk to their kids if they're around. Hey, how's your day today? Just be a human, man. And these days, like, people seem to forget that half the time. It's okay to be human. You cannot even walk down the street with people don't even say hi to you anymore. They just look the other way, or it's like, holy fuck, am I that gross?
Well, and like you're doing something, you're putting your stamp on somebody's home.
Yeah.
You're doing something, have passion. Like, enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, do something else. If you hate your job, and you're just doing it for a paycheck, man, you've already lost the game.
Like, and I barely think of the money. Like, I'm not a man that's rich or nothing, but when I'm doing that job, man, I'm just thinking of that job. And as good as you ever even get, and you can probably attest to this, I'm always still waiting for someone to find something wrong with something. You have to have that mentality, man, because if you get too high on your horse, like so many guys in our industry are just arrogant pricks. Like even some of the guys you've had on, like that one young fella just talking like he was just I was like, son of a bitch, man.
The honky tonk taper.
I think that was the one, but
Brad with CSR stopped listening to the podcast after that episode. I was like, dude, come on, Brad.
Yeah. Even if you're good, man, just be super humble about it. And just, like, if people want to stroke you and stuff like that, if you need that, let your customers do that. But just always, like, even me, man, like I'll learn stuff even on Instagram. Some of these guys will be doing something, and I've spent a lot of money on there, by the way, from all these ideas. I got the corner cobra from Colombia. I'm buying everything I see pretty well. My wife's like the Maxvac. I got that specially in from Switzerland because Buddy's showing that on.
You're gonna get a hard hat. What is it? The hard hat watch. You're gonna get one of those next. Then you got to get a hard hat watch, and then you got to get some of that cool clothing.
Yeah, the troll, and you got to get
the troll clothing. Got to get
John's that big gulp water bottle.
Oh yeah, because it's obviously better.
Yeah, so it's but like even with me, like I mean, I know all the guys say this, but no one's ever reached out to me and say, hey man, I like what you're doing, you want to do promotion. I don't know if I mean, I say that now and you might change your mind, but I don't know if I'm really interested in doing that kind of stuff, like kind of like being like a hen for other companies and that, but I say that, but I'm open to it. You know what I mean? If it came to it, but I'm just enjoying, like, I bringing my personality, kind of mixing it in kind of with what we're doing, and just people seem to sort of, I'm surprised people like it. I don't consider, I thought people would be like, what the hell is this guy doing? You know?
Yeah. A tool that you, or a system or a tool that you've discovered recently, or in the past couple of years, where you were super resistant to try this thing and you ended up trying it and it completely changed your game. Like, but you as a true drywaller were resistant to change. You didn't want to try it, but you reluctantly tried it, and now you won't do it any other way.
What would you say? There's a couple of things. Well, definitely the Festool Plain X. That hasn't been that recent, but that changed my life, man. That put me from like.
Were you resistant to the Festool? Were you like, what the hell? I'm not bringing this big. That's where I'm at. I'm at. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna buy that. But I spent covering this last job probably $250 on Quickset. And so I've done multiples of those. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm probably at $1,200, $1,400 in Quickset, covering up this popcorn. Okay,
you use a lot less product if you can get those tips down.
Totally.
And, so that would definitely be it. I remember when we got it, and I had to use, like, this is embarrassing, but I had to use like 3 credit cards to put all my Festool gear on. Like, I didn't have the money. A lot of kids running around paying for this and that. I didn't know cash back then. And, but I did it. Like I said to my wife, I said, no, I got to get this. She's just looking at me like, okay, what's the newest thing? Cause I need it. No, trust me. You have no idea. It's going to change my life. Right. But but it really did, man. Like as soon as I got it, and I had a shop back then, and I remember like taking a bunch of pieces of drywall, like kind of like your sample boards, and then mudding them and going in the next day and using the sander because I had to practice. I wasn't going to show up to someone's house without like knowing how to use this damn thing.
Right, right.
So, but that was a big game changer, and even something as little as I know this goes back to the painting side, but like
Sure.
using the Purdy the 14-inch new rolling system that they have, right?
Oh, okay.
Like going from the old 8-inch or 9-inch to the 14, like that's
Duh.
like I do everything in 14. It just like it's so much nicer. Like
Yeah.
you know that and using the big Purdy buckets, like just like something
Yeah.
simple like that. Like anything that can in our industry that can improve your quality and can cut down time and can also make you look good to your clients because people notice these things when we're going to quotes. Like say you're going to go price a popcorn ceiling removal 2 doors down and Pam's going to come in next and she's going to look at it. Well, you don't got a test tool. You're going to sell them on your scraping and you don't got an air scrubber, you know, blah, blah, blah. Pam goes in. Oh yeah, we have here's pictures of how we prepare your place. We have the Festool Plane X. We also have just people's perception when they hear those things.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they had a budget in their mind that this job is going to be $7,000, but my price is $12,000. That they start thinking, man, they're like all of a sudden like they're calling you saying, yeah, because they're just based on your reputation and what you have to offer them and to keep things dust down this and that they'll take you.
Love it. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And then of course your pearl of wisdom.
Yes, we were thinking about this. Mine would be to kill everybody with kindness, no matter who the hell they are. Whether it's me talking to you, the mailman wants to have a quick chat. Just be kind to everybody, man. Don't think you're better than somebody. Just be kind to people, and good things will happen. Honest to God, and just do it with trueness, don't be phony to people, and just. That and always stick to what you say, like in life in general. When you tell somebody something or you have, you're high on your horse about, how you carry yourself, always just stay true to who you are and kill people with kindness. That'd be my two things. Kindness for sure, man. That'll get you far. That's my pearl.
Love it. Jammie
really.
Burke. Painting, Burke, call Jammie, painting and drywall.
There you go.
out of
Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. The nation's capital, man. You got to come up here sometime, man. I'd love to see you and do a little fresco stuff, take you to the parliaments and show you how the real
someday maybe we'll be in more locations than just Toronto, but whatever. CSR's got a little corner on the market up there. They're selling fresco. It's working out. But we've got some people in Ottawa using the product and all over BC and Alberta and stuff. So it's getting cool. And I'm getting more familiar with Canada as we do these interviews and love it. It's been great.
Canada's been great, man. I appreciate you having me on and chatting. And I'll try to. Toronto's about 5.5 to Barrie's around 5.5 hours. Toronto's around 4.5 from where I'm at here. I'm right north of Syracuse, New York. That's where we're at.
Yeah, if we do another training, man, you got to come and check it out for sure.
I would love to, man. Meet all you guys, and thanks a lot for having me on. Hopefully, this wasn't too boring or too uninteresting.
No, it was a good one. It was a good one.
Yeah, you say that to everyone, man. Come on, you're gonna get off and be like, "What a donkey!"
I know. I don't want to be too honest because I liked Myron Ferguson. I liked that one. I liked Ahmed. There's a bunch that I like. I love Paps. Did you catch Paps? Such a cool dude.
That guy's got a good vibe going.
They all have different energies, and the girls are fantastic. I love having on the women in the trade. Faith was awesome. Alice Brooking was great.
Yes.
I really don't. Sometimes it's how well the conversation flows. This conversation flowed really well. You're a fantastic interviewee. You're very open and candid. You're very kind. So that always helps, And when we allow sort of each other that back and forth, it works really well. And you let me steer the conversation, which helps. you know?
you.
So
Respect, man. That's a Canadian in me. Respectful.
very cool, sir. Well, we will talk soon, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And shout out to Pam too for the help.
You too, brother. Anytime you need a filler, man, you give me a call. We'll chat again. Love to be on here again sometime if invited.
All right, sir. Talk to you soon.
You got it, buddy. Take her easy.
Bye.
Keep it up, man.
Huge shout out to Jammie for being with us on the Drywall podcast today. Really appreciate it, and I really enjoyed your story, sir. The Drywall podcast can be listened to on your favorite platforms like Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and you can also watch this interview in its entirety on a little thing called YouTube if you are inclined. The YouTube video gets dropped early on Thursdays at 5 o'clock prior to the interview being dropped on the other platforms. Guests of the Drywall podcast will receive a sweet swag bucket from our friends at CSR. If you have been an interviewee on the Drywall podcast and have not received a sweet swag bucket, please let me know. If it is recent, then be patient. They go out every couple of months or so. Thank you so much for joining us on the Drywall podcast today. I sincerely appreciate it. We have new episodes that drop every Friday. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. And remember, keep drywalling.